This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so let's go to our own profile by going to stop proxy rather. So we were working as Megan Cook. So by the way, before I get started, any questions from the previous session?
No, Pradeep, I don't have questions. I was able to go through half of your previous lecture. So till then, don't have any questions. I'm going to go through the rest
Okay,
tomorrow.
sure. Let me just close all this stuff.
I'm good, Pradeep. I don't have any questions.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's quickly go through what we discussed yesterday. So I believe the RD:WP is the prefix that we have been using. So let's say simple to advanced. When I access this, so we don't have the executable link because we have disabled it in our advanced tab. So let's quickly scan through what we discussed. So in columns, we were able to do additional business objects and sort, which gives you the additional business object related sorting, sub-level sort. Filter is just like normal, but additionally we have for each and every condition, you will be able to hold and or logics. Subfilter, which gives you the leverage to access your related business objects and filter upon them. Prompts, which allows you to prompt the user for whatever filters or subfilters you may have. That helps you dynamically populating the values and generating the results per dynamic values. Output, how you wanted to see the results, and whether you want to make this report as a worklet option, worklet enabled by the way, and share. You want to share it with a different group of people in your organization, you can do that. Advanced will help you in going through all the advanced features, especially web services. So when you make this report as a web service enabled, like say yes, then this is simple. Simply we can say that this is a RAS report, RAAS, RAS report. Okay. Now let's go to other type of report, which is matrix type. Create matrix. Sorry, not matrix. Create custom report, and every report that you create will be through this one, the type of report. And remember and understand at this stage that whatever delivered reports that you have seen, like standard reports that Workday is offering, all those reports are one of these 8 types. So they were created out of one of these 8 types: advanced, composite, or matrix, or inbox, one of these report types. Okay, let's say WP matrix report. And report type, we need to choose matrix. As I said, we will be touching on simple, advanced, and matrix. Rest of the types of reports you will be able to learn probably if it interests you by going through some documents or so on and so forth. But in this stage will be, but remember, we will be using advanced report for integrations. When I choose advanced, it enables this checkbox, enable as web service. By the way, which all reports are used as a RAS reports? So you can see it could be search report and advanced report, which helps you in going with enable as web service. But rest of the other reports will not act as a RAS. They are simple reporting tools. Composite, there is nothing related to RAS. Matrix, no. Nbox, no. Search, yes. Simple, obviously no. Transposed, no feature. Trending. So all these reports does not have capability to make those reports as RAS reports. RAS reports are the ones which helps you in using the report in your integration. But 99% of the time you use advanced reports. To my knowledge, to my experience, we use advanced reports for your integrations, but there could be a sleek or slight chances that you may have search reports as well, because that is allowing you to access it as a. But matrix report is purely for your reporting purpose. So you want to see the summarized version of data. How many people are in this gender, how many people are in this company, how many people by gender, by cost center, by company, those kind of aspects. Matrix means, you might have heard about matrix, right, in your school days. So 3x3 matrix or 2x2 matrix, like that. So the data will be rows and columns that ways. We'll just see one sample. Let me choose all active and terminated. We know what is optimized for performance. Say okay. So whatever you are seeing, this section is almost the same, right? Except for report type is matrix, and data source type, primary object, is being derived from whatever data source that you choose. By rule, Workday allows you to choose data source versus business object. Business object is something which is derived out of this. So additional info, you can see this data source description and all. Matrix. So let's come from whatever is common in our advanced reports. We'll talk about that, and then we'll go through what is not in common. So advanced tab is pretty much common, but you don't see that many options as what you saw in your advanced report. Report performance, enable save parameters and exclude execution link. When I'm talking about this and I'm not repeating it, it means that I have already spoken about this. Enable for worksheets, temporary report, and date defined. So what is the temporary? So these are the features that you can control through matrix report. Sharing, you can share, and who is the owner. Output, here same things, you want to enable is a worklet and time, text, help text, time series options. Time series options is something different. So if you want to enable some time periods, right, then you can use it. So we'll see that. Probably not that details will be going. Prompts, same usage. Whatever you have filters that you have in your report that you'll use for prompts. Filter, we already know. And the only difference that you see here is there is nothing like columns. There is no sorting related tabs, but matrix and drill down are the two tabs that are additional. So you have to understand this much. So let's go to matrix. As we said, matrix is all about rows and columns. So let me just simply type some matrix. Data 4x4, something like that. I just want to show you the data, basically images. Yeah, we can see this. What is this? The data is rows and columns. So you have the data summarized version of this companies or cost centers by age, sex, race, height, income, marital status. So you are having a matrix of data. So that is what you're trying to build. So what is it asking? Row grouping. So what is it that you wanted for rows? On the left hand side, what is that you wanted? And you have column groupings down below. See, column groupings. So what is your columns that you wanted to see in this one? Okay, so with that understanding, let's go ahead. So on my columns, I wanted probably company. How many people are there in that company is what I'm just looking at it. Is it a wise thing? Because there are hundreds of companies in this particular tenant. That may not be an appropriate thing. So hundreds of columns will show up. So let's do one thing. So let's go for gender. So I want to put genders like male, female, unknown, all those values I want to show up in my columns. So notice that I have selected already. Okay. Oh, these are typically non-expandable fields. So this is this fixed structure. So column groupings, you can have only 2 column groupings at a time. So this is optional, by the way. But if you see, the same goes with rows as well. So you don't have a plus button. So here you are defining what is your row data should be, what is your column data should be, and whatever fields you wanted, you will go into drill down details. So we'll see that later. But understand, on a broader level, what are we trying to pull? Data for a summarized version. Matrix report is a summary report, by the way. So on the columns I have gender, maybe on my group I'll have location. Let's say by location I wanted rows. You can have like 8 levels of grouping if you want it. If you don't want it to use it, just leave as is. You don't need to delete this or remove. There is no option to remove the rows, by the way. This is a fixed format. All that you can select is which field you wanted to group, by the way. All right. So maximum number of rows is 250, that is allowed. So 250 listings that will show. If there are 500 locations, for example, in your organization, it shows the first 250 locations. So that's what it means. Maybe if you wanted 500, just go for 500. There will be a limit for how many rows that you wanted to show. Let's say it will, once you put this number, it will show there is a limit for this. Where is the maximum? It says 1 through 12,000. So 12,000 rows you can have in a matrix report. That is maximum number of rows.
And what's the number? Sorry, what's the maximum number of columns you can have?
No, we are saying 8 rows or 2 columns, but this is the data. This is the number of rows that you will see in your results. You getting my point?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do one thing. So we'll go for the data. So because it may be a little confusing at this stage, so we'll see the data and come back again. On my rows, I have location. On my columns, I have gender, and I have something like count on my fields. So how many columns you have that you can have maximum? Gender maybe like 4 or 5 values you will have, but you can limit that also. If at all there is some hundreds of rows, you can just restrict that also. Maybe let me just put some number. It gives me some count, right? Max cap it will show. So 1 to 250. So what it says is the matrix can be having columns like 250 columns, and rows can be 12,000 rows. So that is the maximum data set that you can produce. So you got my point, Tahir?
Yes, exactly. That's what I was asking. How many maximum columns you can have?
Okay, sure. So let's say the default. So we don't go beyond the default. If you have 250 columns, it's truly tough to make out the data and analyze the data. So typically you have whatever limit they have given, just go for it. It will be more than enough. So 20 is the limit, and here you can see the summarization aspects. So we want the count of the people. So if you want different summarization things like averages or some minimum max, so those things. So let's not get into that. That's not our point of interest. Count should be fine. Count is the default that will show up. Go to drill down. So let me see. Without giving anything on the drill down, so I'll try to set the filter. Okay, so what data I need and what data I don't want. So I want all active people, probably. Worker status. Yeah, I think looks like this is genuine. Operator, frequently used, equal to, I'll say active. Or let us remove this. I don't want filter also, but I want to see how much data is there. Then we can figure out. Let's click OK. So all that we did was put some data, put some row grouping, column grouping, and summation, which is count. Let's try to see how our data is going to look like, or if it is not enough to go for. Let's do run. So if you notice the data, it is saying locations on the left hand side. That is like San Francisco. Let us take example of San Francisco. 366 employees are there with blank gender. Male were 67, female were 51, not declared 4. So total count was 488. So this is the summation or summary of data. Okay, you understood what this means? So it's showing 252. Maybe the grand total would also be included at the end. That could be the possible, but it says maximum is 250. So were you able to understand how we are generating the data, by the way?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, Anusha.
Yeah, Pradeep.
Okay, fine. So now let us get into the next level of understanding. So we got the summary of data. So what if someone wants to drill into details? Means, yes, San Francisco has 67 people, male people, 51 as female. I want to check who these people are. By clicking on this, it gives me the information. So you are drilling into details. So when you're drilling into details, what information you want to see is what drillable or that tab is present for you. So there you can configure what is the criteria, what is the fields that you want to see. As we haven't configured anything, it is just showing who are the workers. See, all these employees are the male people who are part of San Francisco. Correct. So now let's go ahead and we'll keep this as a base.
Pradeep, when you drill down, right now it's showing the workers. So is there a way to change what we see in the drill down?
That's what we are doing now. Yeah.
Okay.
So I go to actions and going to edit mode. There is a tab that we have just skipped it so that we wanted to come back to see, understand. So that we are going into. What happened? Yeah, edit mode. So drill down is the tab which helps you in what you wanted to see in that when you drill into details. So hope you have understood by now what is row grouping. In rows, if you wanted different items, like for example, I wanted to say active people and worker status. So I want to see the worker status also along with my location. So it gives me further more information. See, let me choose this worker status. Likewise, you can add 8 such row groupings. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, so let me say some 1000 or 2000 as the total limit. So because this is a training tenant, so you're getting to see a huge number of count on locations, but ideally that is not a realistic scenario for your organization. But until unless your organization truly has some. Okay, we are going to drill down. So here, what is it that you wanted when you drill into details? Detailed data. Right now, what are we seeing? Only employee data by default. When I click this, I see only employee data. Right? So worker, and view by. This is something which you can control. So that's what we are doing it here now. Detailed data. What all information I need when I click that drill down details. Let's say worker name. And I wanted their ethnicity or race or ethnicity. I wanted gender is already there, by the way, you're choosing it. Let's say marital status. Then I wanted probably manager. Who is the manager for this person? Manager level 01, let's go for it. It's immediate manager. If you say manager level 02, it's manager's manager. There are levels like 9 or 10 levels which Workday offers you, so you can make use of those fields. So worker age, which location is already there, maybe cost center pertaining to the employee. So I'm just randomly picking up. So this could be your requirement. So what are the fields that you wanted to see? Now you have drillable fields. What does this mean? So you have to view by and then, right? So when you refresh it, you're filtering or setting up the data in that angle, in that aspects. You can give all those fields or whatever you wanted, maybe by race or gender. I'll show you what it means. Race and ethnicity. Then I'll go by marital status. Maybe by age. Right, so we have 3 of them. and scroll down. That's the durable fields. Sorting, if you want to put some sorting, just go for it. Let's say okay, so you can explore it, sorting now. So whenever I'm searching or rather running this report, this time remember we have added 2 row groupings. One is for location, other one was your worker status. So the report is a bit huge, or number of rows will show up now. Looks like worker status is not the appropriate one. Maybe active status or something. Yeah, worker status, they're not maintaining the correct data maybe. So you can see more number now, 468 items by the way. Okay, so earlier you had 252. Now maybe some of the locations would have multiple. So that's the reason you're seeing it. This worker status may be more than one in that case. Okay, now our primary intention to come here is to see this is the two row groupings. So you can have this way some 8 row groupings, and columns you can have 2 column groupings. Okay, when I click San Francisco, 68 people are there. When I click this, now the data that I'm representing drill down is showing a worker, race, ethnicity, marital status, manager, cost center. This is all information I have. I can go into details and look out what it is and stuff like that. And if I go here, remember we have few things that we had set up: race, ethnicity, marital status, and age. If you get the data by age, so all this population, 58 people, will be segregated or resulted with a grouping. When I say refresh, it gives a grouping. So 0, 6 people, 21, 1, 22, 2 people, like this. It will give you the information by age. So there is something called as age group that you can choose as a field. So that will list you the grouping. So 0 to 18 years, this many people, 20 to 40 years, this many people. So that depends upon the age field that you're choosing. When I say marital status, how many people are in this groups? Married, 22 people. Partner. So again, you can click this, drilling into details. These 22 items are only specific to whatever we have chosen, married or probably. So again, you wanted to do by race or gender, race or ethnicity, and refresh. Click on refresh, by the way. It gives you this information. So drilling down into details and applying those filters will help you in identifying the right data if at all you are looking for something. This is summarized view, summarized report, which helps you in targeting, the counts, summarized versions. All right, so that's about your matrix report. You can explore furthermore. Any questions at this point before I move on?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right. So let me close this report. So now we'll step into the concept called calculated fields. So there are something called as calculated fields, which are often called as functions. So let me go to my folder, if at all. Integrations. So all right, let's go to the slide back there. Close. So we know what is simple report, what is advanced report, and how to create a report. This is the steps. like choosing the report type, data source, then it derives the primary business object, or derives rather. Selecting the fields on the related business object, column order, and sorting, then filter, criterion, prompting. And this is how security works. So if a person is having a report temporary writer, James Brook is having report temporary writer. So if report temporary writer, report writer temporary security group is having or allowing only certain domains, only this person will be using those. If the person is a report administrator, they'll have multiple domains. Based on this security aspects, they will be allowed to see or allowed to show whatever information they will be accessing. Now, switching into the calculated fields. When we went into our worker business object, if you remember, there were close to some 7,000 or 8,000 different fields, out of which you will see three types of fields. One is workday delivered fields, which are delivered by Workday. Second one, custom fields. If Workday is not offering you some field data to maintain, you have custom fields where you maintain that data. That is custom fields. Next, calculated fields. Calculated fields do not store data. However, they derive the value from either delivered field or custom field. In this case study, in this example, let us say John Smith was hired on 1/1/2012. Okay, and you wanted to report in your report saying that this person's hire quarter, right? So when this person was hired, in which quarter? Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. You know, Q1 is from Jan to March, Jan, Feb, March. A quarter consists of 3 months. So Q2 will be April, May, June. Likewise, Q3, Q4. So in this case, it should be derived out of something. So when we have a calculated field, we will apply some function to derive the value out of an existing source field. So hire date, we look at this as a source and derive the value by applying a function. That function could be any function that depending upon what is the need. Okay, and in this aspect, you are not overriding this value on this one. This is existing value which is there, but you're taking this as a source and putting a value into this calculated field. If this changes obviously, because this is dependent on this one. Okay, and here t-shirt size is something which Workday does not maintain or give you. You can create a field called t-shirt size and maintain that. Okay, you maintained saying that medium as the t-shirt size for an employee John Smith. So you want to identify whether medium or whether the t-shirt size on an overall perspective, is it a standard or is it special, so on and so forth. If it is special, maybe it could be XL or triple XL or 4XL, like that. If it is small, medium, large, you consider it as standard. So you want to identify whether it is standard or specialty. So you're looking at this field and saying that this is my source. If this changes, this is going to change. So obviously your calc field is dependent on another existing field. All right. So here is another view, by the way. Here are the list of calculated field types that you can create. So we are grouping them into different categories. So like one is numeric, which returns number values. Text, obviously text data. Date, which gives you dates when you are using this. Instances, which gives you instances like single instance, multi-instance, and a range band, and so on and so forth. and Boolean, which gives you true or false values. And there are something called as organizations, which you are dealing with organization lookup. Coming to functions that can return any of the above formats, which means these are all superior formats or functions which you can use and derive any of these formats. So these are kind of a superior to all these things. You make use of one of these calculated fields within this calculated field to derive the value. Next, this is the same thing. Here is a calculated field pyramid. So initially this text numeric date constants you build and then goes on the ladder like this. When you want to analyze the data, you'll go bottom up and you analyze the data and then create a new field how you want it and you go for it. Just a second. Yeah, I think we should be good. Let's go back to our tenant. Create calc field is the task. So calculated field, by the way, I'm doing a partial search here. Oh, we don't have a create calc field option here. What is this? So now what we can do, we'll just shift our base to Logan McNeil. So meanwhile, I'll give permissions to our report so that we'll be using our reports. What is that? Report definition : WP. For this simple to advanced, I'll make it edit mode and try to give option to access. I can say transfer ownership also. By clicking transfer ownership, this ownership is moved to someone who wants it. Let's say Logan McNeil. Click OK. Now here on, owner will be Logan McNeil for that report. So when I search it, it shows up, but the owner will be Logan McNeil because she is a report writer security group, part of report writer security group. She is able to see. Share, and now you can see the owner as Logan McNeil. Okay, let's go for start proxy. Click OK. Logan McNeil. Click OK. Okay, let's start. Create custom, calc field. This is the task. So here you will see the functions. You can quickly notice what are all the functions that Workday is offering. So it's same as the whatever we have looked at our sheet, summarized version. Where is this? So you can see all of them: format number, format date, or build date, expressions, all these things. Let's go here. These are the functions that are available. starting with alphabetical A, sorted, aggregate related instance, arithmetic calc, build date, concatenate text, convert currency in text to number. So you can just go through all these things. I don't need to read it. So till true or false condition. So you need to understand a few things here basically. So what can I do? Let me see. Okay, now let me go to Paint. I just want to explain some concepts so that that gives you a better idea. Searching for Paint. So I'm getting hard time when I want to write some notes or anything. Come on, man. Paint, come on. Can't search. Paint. Let me save it. Pin to start. Pin to taskbar. Open it. Okay. And let me see if I'm able to write it. We can choose some color and some size as this. Okay, now what I'm trying to help explain you here is, so we are building cost calc fields, right? Oh, what is this? Oh, it's not working. Shoot. Okay, sorry. Okay, so the calc fields, whatever you are going to create, right? All those fields will be stored in that particular business object. Okay, so let's go to business object called worker. Let's go duplicate. So these basic concepts are pretty much important so that it lays a good foundation for you whenever you're understanding. So business object, worker, it may take a little while, but that's fine. Let's go check it. Worker business object. When you open, it shows you the first tab as fields, right? What are all the fields that it has? We already saw this business object having some close to 7,000 or 8,000 plus fields. We'll review that and see, identify what are the different types of field types that it has. I mean, source rather, I should say. Type again will be text or length, or number, or all those types will come. We need to say source type. And by the way, there are two ways that you will be able to create your calculated fields, and we will say two types of different calculated fields as well. One is report specific calculated field, other one is system wide calculated fields. I'll show you the difference and we'll notice that. Yeah, it's almost there. Yep, 8,787 items. You notice the field source. This tells you what kind of a field is this. Is it a derived field or sorry, a delivered field, or is it a calculated field or a custom field? Any of these three field source, it will show up. It is better you export to Excel sheet and try to understand. So that gives you a better understanding, because if you click on filter, it will take a lot of time to filter the data because of the huge number of fields that it has. Okay, so here some of the calculated fields were also delivered by Workday, by the way. It's not that every single calculated field, whatever you're seeing, is given by, was created by someone here, but practically speaking, some of the calculated fields were delivered by Workday as well. I'm not sure why they don't mention it as a calculated field, delivered calculated field, or probably that's okay. That's a different story. But when you create a calculated field, it asks you what is the business object, where I should go and store that field. So we're talking about this field. So come back. You said that you wanted to create a new field looking at different field, right? So as a source. So this one. Said that this information is already there. You're creating a new calculated field and looking at this as a source to derive some value. This is a field. It should have a place where it should be stored, right? What we are saying, this will be part of a business object that you're creating. Whichever field you're referencing, in that business object, you will be storing this calculated field. So that is a very good reason why you have worker business object has got this many number. So every single person would have created some 15 or 10 or 20 different calculated fields on worker, maybe hundreds also, we don't know, right? So that is the reason you have this many calc fields. And yeah, it should be good. Let's go ahead. Function. So it gives you what function you want to apply. Depending upon the function that you choose, your next screen will turn up according to that function. Okay. To access your data, you typically go with report. So let's go to report. To access your calc fields data. So our report definition RD:WP, the ones which Megan Cook created and passed it on to her. Let's go here and say, I'll copy this one, okay, so that we have one, because I don't want to disturb this one when you wanted to check it. Go here, come on, custom report, copy. I'll just copy this as a report called calculated fields report. So here on, we need to go back and forth to access our report for calc fields. Calc field. Excuse me. So say okay. So it's creating as a temporary report, so that's fine. Okay. So scroll down. Just want to see if I have the option to change it from. Yeah, this is something which you cannot change until unless you remove some temporary report writer access. Okay, that's fine. So now I want to make this report as flexible as possible so that we run our calc field reports every time. So this is already in edit mode. Okay. So now I wanted to just remove this prompts. Okay. Every time I run it, it asks for the prompt. So I don't want that to happen. Scroll down. So all these three values, I'll just remove it. I'm just preparing for the calc field report. So remove this. You can have this also, but it slows down our frequency of running the application or the report. And every time you need to key in all this information, that will be a hassle for us. Come on. Okay, now I need to give some values there. Otherwise, I need to remove the filters. Subfilter. I'll just remove this. Or I need to say down below, remove. Come on, remove. Next, going to filter. Scroll down. Here, instead of prompt the user, I need to put the values so that I can run the report immediately. Why it is taking a lot of time here? Total base pay annualized amount, let's say, come on. Organize this. Looks like I'm not able to access the screen or it's very slow, either of the reasons. Common. Value specified in this filter. So I'll say total base pay amount is zero. And here it goes, the age should be greater than 17. Common. Sorting and everything looks fine. So here, if you notice, these are the fields that we have added. When I just click this one, another field. So it says you can create a calc field from here as well. Create calculated field for report. So when you create a calc field by this way, this is going to be report specific, which means only for this report you are going to use this calc field. So we'll talk about that furthermore, but let's just minus this and say okay, so that I want to make sure the report is fine and we will be running without any hassles. Save parameters, we don't need it. Preferred currency, yeah, let it be. Freeze first column, that also works. Yeah, click OK. Now let's try to see the results quickly. All that we have done is removed the prompts, by the way. So now without any filters, without any prompts, we're able to do this, right? So let me do a quick calc field so that you'll get a base idea as what we are trying to do. So I'll say worker as the business object. This is system-wide calculated field. When you go through create calculated field, this calculated field, whatever you're creating, can be used anywhere in any report. So let's say, what should we do? Format date, or yeah, format date. Okay, field name. What is the field name that you want to create? So typically your calc fields would be like named like this: CFFD, which means format date. If it is lookup related value, we'll say LRV. If it is an evaluate expression, EE. So the first two characters or first character of each word, you put it. So it's a ARI, which means aggregate related instance. AC, arithmetic calculation. CT, concatenate test, like that you will just put it. So that's how you typically do naming convention in your real time. CF or any other, they may be using some Z or X or whatever, so it depends. So FD and the field that you are trying to fetch value. In this case, we have the value here as 1/1/2000. So I want to identify what is the quarter for this year, for this hire. So I'll just put hire quarter. So this is how the naming convention would look like. So, but for our understanding purpose, so we'll just make use of our prefix WP, then format date. So I'm going to give the same name as our function so that you know what it is. Click OK. Date field. So as I said, it is seeking it's a date kind of information. So it asking you what is the source that I need to look for. So you're saying the source is hire date. Where is that source? It is in a worker business object. So this worker business object related date fields, it will show up here. When you drop, when you see here, all the fields related to dates from worker business object will show. So now I'll say hire date. So I pick this hire date. Format. So it gives you the options to choose what are all the formats that you have. Workday automatically provides all these formats. Let's say quarter and year. So I want to use both quarter and year. I want to show up. So then I'll use this. If I want only quarter, so I'll go for it. If I want to use month, I want to extract month and show the month, which month that person was hired, which day, which quarter, year. So all this information you can see. And finally, there is something called as format mask. This is more of a custom. When you select this, it allows you to put it value. So here you can see YMD. You can see down below the help text. For example, EEE, DMMM will gives you the result this way. WED Wednesday 4th July 2001, like that. So you can use this valid values to present however your information should look like. So typically we use format masks because whatever Workday is offering you, maybe slashes is there, like backslash is there. Maybe we don't want this backslash. We wanted some other format that you want to send it to a third party or a vendor. So how do you use it? So I wanted year first this time. Year first, month and day without any slashes. I want that information. So you can say simply YYYY MMDD, something like this. So when you hover the mouse, it gives you help text. When you are using this, this is going to put year, month and date, because this is what my vendor is expecting. But this kind of format Workday does not hold in the record in my business object worker. For that reason, you are creating a calculated field to derive some value out of whatever you have chosen the source. In this case, hire date. Maybe in some other case, I wanted a termination date. In some other case, I wanted a rehire date. Some other case I want some system date, whatever it could be. So the usage of this is by taking format date, you're formatting an existing date and putting the value in new field. Let's say okay. So I'm just giving this example because it's pretty easy for you to pick and choose some day or quarter. It's just straightforward, so nothing much that you will be doing there. Format mask is one thing which you use it typically. So okay, so I'll try copy this and use this field in our report, and understand that when you're using in your report, it should be from the same business object. So you go here, so let me just go to calc field, actions, and I would say, oh sorry, so I would say edit. I'll just add that field and leave it to you. So it's always good to have the source field also in your report. Why? It helps you in validating your data. So let's add here. So already we have got that calculated field in our worker business object. When I put it here, it says, yes, this is the field that I have from worker business object. Say click OK. Run it, and we'll see the results. So now you see the data in the format, whatever you have expected. Your client or vendor may be expecting this value, but if you send this value, they are not looking for this, by the way. So they are expecting it, the data should be this way. So using a format date function within the calculated field, you use this and send this information. Probably you use this to validate whether whatever randomly you can check. So 0201 2012 2012 0201, yes, this is correct. So then you can remove this field from your report. So that is what you typically do. All right, any questions at this moment?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, great. We are 10:08 Central Time, so we'll close the session today at this point, and tomorrow we'll come back and start working on different calculated fees that we have discussed, and it may take quite some time to cover most of the calculated fields. You need to be patient enough to wait for each of the calculated fields. So we'll use this report for our and take this as a base to construct our report. All right, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate all your time. We'll catch up tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you, good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.